Today we'll do an activity to start the chapter Should Wizard Hit Mommy? Okay? Now I need one person from each group to come here to be given a handout. I will give the handout and I would like to ask you to go to your group. Your group is in a circle. The leader of the group will go around each of you asking answers to the questions that they will have in their hands. Now, when the group is in a circle, the leader will go from behind each one round the circle asking questions. You can ask any question to any of them, note their answer, and once you are done, we shall have a presentation.
So, Rutina, do you think that generation conflicts exist? Thank you. And what percentage do you think are do these disputes exist?
30%.
Okay, thank you.
Do you think conflicts between generations are possible? Yes, no, or yes? Thank you. Uha, do you think conflicts between generations are possible?
So, do you think that the generation gap is mainly typical between the young and the old? Yeah, okay.
What percentage of your conflicts do you think are related to the so-called generations?
75%.
Okay, so do you think generation gap is mainly typical between the young and the old?
Yeah.
So most people agree with the fact that there is a generation gap between these both generations, and there are disputes because of that. So when I've asked people about this, most people have told me that there's about 75% of disputes they've faced, mostly because of their communication gaps and lack of time.
Most of my group mates think that conflicts do exist, and the percentage of dispute might be 30%. And they think that the main reason is actually different perspective between the generations, and like they feel that both the generations suffer due to these disputes.
Isn't it? Now, and what were the causes we said was the reason for generation gap? Communication gap, okay. Communication, okay. What else? Elders itself? Only for elders, or do elders also need to have that respect for the younger generation? Give respect and take respect, is it? Respect both sides, right?
Perspectives of their
Different perspectives, very good. Different perspectives, changing trends would be the same? Yes. Any other ideas?
acceptances
Lack.
of their
See, when your perspective is different, that means you are not able to accept that. Exactly, isn't it? Yes. Lack of time. Time gap, shall we say? Anything else? So, what do you think is Should Wizard Hit Mommy all about? The conflict of generation. Would it only be conflict of generation between father and child? Could it also be between gender? It could be between gender. Why do you think? Now this we spoke about generation. Now let us look, I am writing generation here. Now if it is gender, if there is a gender disparity, or if there is a communication gap between the genders. Now what is this gender disparity or difference in our thought processes in the gender? What do you think would be the clash between the husband and a wife at home? What do men expect of women? Do household chores, okay. Very good. Household chores. Then man expects the woman to support.
in the evenings and for Saturday naps like today's. Jack told his daughter Jo a story out of his head. This custom began when she was 2, was itself now nearly 2 years old, and his head felt empty. Each new story was a slight variation of a basic tale. A small creature, usually named Roger. Roger Fish.
Creature.
Usually named Roger. Roger Fish. Roger Squirrel. Roger Chipmunk. Had some problem and went with it to the wise old owl.
See, this girl is not able to fall asleep. And he wishes that, like the girl of two who she was when they had started the story, that she could have fallen asleep. Whereas her brother has been given the bottle and he has fallen asleep. And the whole rite, what is the rite here?
How the father used to tell her the story.
Yes, the ritual of the storytelling. Isn't it the rite? The ritual of the storytelling seems so futile because what is the objective of the storytelling? To make the girl sleep. But what is happening? She is continuously talking and talking. So it seems so futile, and she, when the father says, "What story should we have today?" she closes her eyes and pretends to be thinking. Again, she is enjoying the thought that she is thinking. Look at the sentence. Isn't it? Happy that she is thinking and thinking about thinking. She is such a small child. For them, thinking means a huge deal. So now she has such a big thing to think. What should she think? What story do I want? And she's smiling. Suddenly she opens her eyes. She had her mother's blue eyes. And is the father cherishing that thought, or is he jealous, do you think? Irritated? Isn't it? Maybe a little. Let's see why. But look at the sentence, the abruptness of the sentence. John Updike is a modern writer who is into shocking people into thinking. Okay, his structure, his sentence construction, everything is very abrupt.
A new animal. They must talk about the skunk at the nursery school. Having a fresh hero momentarily.
See? So she says, skunk, Roger skunk. So he thinks, oh, it's not the squirrel or the chipmunk or any of these, it's the skunk. Maybe they're talking about a new animal in their nursery school.
Stirred Jack to creative enthusiasm. All right, he said. Once upon a time, in deep dark woods, there was a little creature by the name of Roger Skunk. And he smelled very bad, yes, Joe said. He smelled so bad that none of them, other little woodland creatures, would play with him. All other tiny animals would cry, oh no, here comes Roger Stinky Skunk.
See,
And they
when
were,
the animals would see him, they say, oh, here comes Roger Stinky Skunk. Isn't it? They're all humiliating him, they're all making fun, mocking him. Isn't it?
and they would run away, and Roger Skunk would stand there all alone. And two little round drop down on her lower lip bent forward as he traced with a forefinger along the side of his nose. The course of Roger Skunk's tears.
See? So, Roger Skunk is left all alone there, isn't it? And Joe is showing that expression. Okay, she's pouting and she's allowing the tears to, forming a path for the tears that will drop down from whose eyes? Skunk's eyes, isn't it?
Won't you see the owl? She said in a high, faintly rounded voice, sitting on the bed beside her.
See,
Jack-
now she's sat down. She was lying down till now. Now she's sitting up and says, won't he go to see the owl?
Jack felt the cover start as her lips twitched tensely. He was pleased with this
It's brought that anxiety in his daughter, isn't it? She's into the story now.
moment. He was telling her something she must know, and had no wish to hurry on. But downstairs a chair scrapped, and he realized he must get down to help Claire.
And all of a sudden, he whispered, the whole inside of the wizard's house was full of smell of roses. Roses! Roger Fish cried. And the wizard said, very cranky, that'll be 7 pennies. Daddy, what? Roger Skunk. You said Roger Fish.
See,
Yes.
the father has been talking about Roger Fish, Roger Chipmunk, Roger this, Roger that. Now he forgot the skunk and he used the word. Roger Fish was smelling of roses. And now the wizard wants to be paid. And this girl says, Daddy! He says, what? It's not Roger Fish. You said Roger Fish. It is Roger Skunk.
Yes, skunk. You said Roger Fish. Wasn't that silly? Very silly of your stupid old daddy.
Do you think he sees his wife in this also? Probably.
Where was I? Well, you know about the pennies. Say it. Okay, Roger Skunk said. But all I have is 4 pennies, and he began to cry. Joe made this crying face again, but this time without a trace of sincerity. This annoyed Jack. Downstairs, some more furniture rumbled. Claire wouldn't more heavy things. She was 6 months pregnant. It would be their third. So the wizard said, "Oh, very well. Go to the end of the lane and turn around 3 times and look down the magic well, and there you will find 3 pennies. Hurry up." So Roger Skunk went to the end of the lane and turned around 3 times, and there in the magic well were 3 pennies. So he took them back to the wizard and was very happy and ran out into the woods, and all the other little animals gathered around him because he smelled so good. And they played tag, baseball, football, basketball, lacrosse, hockey, and soccer and pick up sticks. What's pick up sticks? It's a game you play with sticks. Like the wizard's magic wand? Kind of. And they played games and laughed all afternoon. And then it began to get dark, and they all ran to their home to their mommies. Jo was starting to fuss with her hands and look out of the window at the crack of the day that showed under the shade. She thought the story was all over.
Took anything for? And what has this girl taken for granted? What is the story that she has taken for granted? She thought that the story had ended. Isn't it? And just to spite her, he doesn't end the story because he doesn't like woman. Who do you think is the best experience for him for the woman? Wife? Maybe his own mother? Mother, isn't it?
He liked them apprehensive, hanging on his words.
1 minute. He liked them apprehensive, then
Hanging
on
on his words.
his words.
Now, Joe, are you listening? Yes, because this is very interesting. Roger Skunk's mommy said, "What's that awful smell?" "What?" And Roger Skunk said, "It's me, mommy. I smell like roses." And she said, "Who made you smell like that?" And he said, "The wizard." And she said, "Well, of all the nerve, you come with me and we're going right back to that very awful wizard." Jo sat up, her hands dabbling in the air with genuine fright. "But Daddy," then he said, "about the other little animals run away?" Her hands skittered off into the underbush. "All right," he said. "But Mommy, all the other little animals run away." And she said, "I don't care. You smell the way a little skunk would have, and I'm going to take you right back to that wizard."
So here you see that she does not want to accept, isn't it? For her, everything, all is well that ends well. So he's turned into the smell of roses. He has lots of friends and she's happy with that. But the father does not want to end the story there. Remember? Because he wants to bring home a point. He wants her to learn that that should not be happening. You should not let go of your identity to please people. And so he continues the story and he says, when he went home, the mother was very angry and dragged him back to the wizard. And this girl is saying, oh, she goes to the wizard, and this girl doesn't like this part. She doesn't want the skunk to lose his new smell and his friends in the process, isn't it? So she says, oh, then the wizard hit mommy? He says, no. It was the mommy who told the wizard, if you don't change the smell, I'm going to hit you. And the wizard said, fine, I'll change the smell. And he changed the smell. The girl says, I don't like this. It is not true. He should have friends. He should not be without friends. So let the let the wizard hit mommy. So that skunk is allowed to continue with his smell and friends. But the father says, no, Then that night the wizard and all come, sorry, the skunk and his mother come home, and that night the mother goes and hugs her child. Isn't it? Why do you think this has been brought in? Affection?
When parents scold you, they don't want you to believe that they're very bad people and all.
Is it because they don't want you to believe or because they are not? They are not. They are not. And for a mother, when her child is hurting, that is the most hurting thing for a mother, isn't it? Yet, she has to be cruel to be kind. Unless she is cruel, she cannot teach the child what are the right values that the child needs in life, isn't it? So, she has taught him that it is you yourself who need to continue with what you are. And remember, the father continues with the story and says, eventually, his friends learned to get used to him because they did not think of the smell but of the person that he was, and they became friends. Isn't it? The mother would want her child to have this. And we as people, I think, we need to know that the beliefs and the faith that has been instilled, the moral values that have been instilled in us, we need to keep and not let go. At this age especially, isn't there so much peer pressure to do or to unlearn what you have learnt till now and come? Isn't it? To do things which are new, which are adventurous, which are exciting, which are also forbidden. Right? So, at this point of life, I think why we have brought this chapter into class 12 is also for that. You're going to go into the new world next year, isn't it? And as you go, you're going to be more exposed. You're going to meet more people whom you would like them to accept you. And in the process, you start shedding all your lifelong beliefs, all the morals that your schools and your parents have taught you, and you become what they want you to become. In the process, what has happened? You have lost yourself. Isn't it? And this is the quality that the father wants the daughter to learn. But as he's telling the story, he's also listening to the sounds that are going on downstairs. What is happening downstairs? His wife is moving the furniture. What is she? She's 6 months pregnant with a baby. And husbands don't want wives to be doing heavy work, or parents don't want daughters to be doing heavy work because they are with a baby. But this woman is an independent woman, isn't it? And she is looking after herself and she's working. And what is the dress that she's wearing? His old shirt. What is the connotation here? She's taking the role of the man. Isn't it? Look at the vivid bringing about of the thought, right? She's becoming the man of the family is what he's thinking, because she's wearing his shirt and doing work that he should have been doing and not waiting for him to come and do it. And as he enters that area, what is the scene that comes in front of him? What does he see?
Spreads the newspaper, sits on top of it and is doing some work.
Who?
The wife.
The wife. But what is around her?
Wood, everything around him.
Cage? Where did that thought of a cage come to you? How are your dining table chairs? The back is like this, isn't it? She has stacked the chairs around her, okay, and she is painting. Can you see that? Look at the vivid imagery that John Updike brings. You have all like this, isn't it? The chairs have been stacked and she is standing in the middle. So she is surrounded by a kind of a cage. And what is the color of this? Means, tan means? Okay. But if half is ivory, half is tan, what are you looking at? Yes? Isn't it? The wife is of a new thought process. he belongs to the old school of thought, isn't it? And they're caught, both of them are caught in an ugly middle position. One cannot give up her new thoughts and come to the old. The other cannot give up his old thoughts and come to the new. So both of them, there's something, and it's like they're in a cage, but she is so repulsive to him. He doesn't want to touch her, he doesn't want to talk to her, he doesn't want to be with her. Isn't it? Because their thoughts are not syncing. Isn't it? There's no synchrony between the two of them. One is of the old school of thought, the other is of the new school of thought. But look at how beautifully the image is depicted of being within a cage and not being able to get out. They can't get out because they have 2.5 children. Isn't it? Isn't she pregnant? 3/4 actually. 9 months the baby comes, isn't it? Anyway, look at that. So they're caught in an ugly middle position. Did you understand the story? Very good.
So good morning, everyone. Now we are going to interview the cast and crew of Should Wizard Hit Mommy. So Mr. John, what made you write this unique story?
Well, the generation is changing. Everyone has different ideas now, and the idea that women are born to be at home and to do the roles at home, they're all this. It's changing. So I wanted to create a new idea in people's minds, not only about women empowerment or about gender equality, but also that the new generation that's coming, that's also supposed to learn that what the previous generation has said is true.
Yeah, that's a thoughtful one. So, Miss Jo, could you please tell about your character?
My character in this displays how different these generation children are. Even at the age of 4, the thought process is at a different level. So even when the father keeps telling the story, she keeps interrupting with her own questions. So this displays or depicts how keen she is into this and how knowledgeable she is and wants to become.
As they say, average 4-year child asks about 250 questions a day. That's true, I guess. So coming to Skunk, Roger Skunk, could you please tell why do you want to change your smell? Because you can use your bad smell as a self-defense and the good smell for making friends. So why do you want to change your stink to a good smell?
I would like to change my stink to good smell because I would like to make good friends and I would like to be exposed to the world. I would be also exposed to the world with my bad stink, but with the good smell, everyone would be happy with me and would like to be with me. They won't bully me or they won't tease me. But as well, the bad stink, I would be bullied and I would be teased a lot and also be ignored, but as well I would be saved by enemies for my life.
But you can use your bad smell as a self-defense. Did you think in that aspect?
Yeah, but like for self defense, like in everyday life, you cannot use self defense also. You need friends, so you have to.
Okay, thank you, Roger.
Can I ask you a question here? How did you feel when your mother made the wizard change back your smell? How did you feel?
First, I felt very bad. When my mother said me the reason, then I was very happy that she's caring for me and she's thinking good for me. And as well as and what she said was also right. My life would be saved. But with the good smell, I would be attacked or be eaten up by some other enemy. So I was very happy.
So the next question is for Mother Skunk. Um, so how did you react when your son has come with a good smell when he changed his stink? Like, why were you so angry? What made you so angry?
I was really angry because the way that people change should be for the better, not for the worst. And the way that the skunk, my child, has changed his smell, which was his unique identity, with which we could tell that he was who he was. And I was really angry because I didn't want my child to fall into other people's traps or believe that what other people want him to be is who he should be. So I wanted him to be his normal self and his unique self.
Okay, thanks. My next question is for Claire.
No, his question is, why do you want to be independent when you have a husband
And a
who
child.
can take care of you and who would love to take care of you? What makes you reject that support?
I wanted to show that there's equal in, like, there's nothing difference to a normal man and a pregnant woman. Everyone are equal, but she's like she's going to give a new life, but everything is equal, and I wanted to do my self and independent work. I don't wanted to take or reliance on others, so I just wanted to work on my own.
So, didn't you think about the baby you have? Like, you're working, okay, but didn't you think about the baby? If anything happens, an accident happens when you're working, didn't you think anything about the baby you're bearing now?
I took all the precautions which to be taken, and then I was worried about my baby, but still I wanted to be independent. Like, rather taking the help, I wanted to do my work. So I was almost taking the precautions, then doing the work.
Now, my question is for Jack. So, how did you feel when your wife was working independently, and why didn't you want to help her when she was working hard and she was pregnant?
I never said that I didn't want to help her. It was as if she wasn't accepting my help. So when I was actually putting Joe to sleep, she could have waited for me so that I would have come and helped her. But it was her decision to not take my help. It wasn't exactly in my hands.
And how did you feel when Joe was interrupting you every now and then when you were narrating the story and she was asking all those lame questions and all?
Well, it was a bit irritating, but it's fine because that shows that she was actually into it and she was actually paying a lot of attention to what I was saying. So even at the end, even though she doesn't like the ending, that's actually how I want it to be. Even though she is cranky about it, she has to learn that once she grows up, she's going to be exposed to many people and she shouldn't be changing. She shouldn't be like this skunk. She should learn to be herself. And as the mother skunk said, if you're changing, it should be for the better, not for the worse.
Well said, Mr. Jack.
Were there traces of your own childhood which you were trying to overcome for yourself? Was it a catharsis for yourself as you were telling the story?
A bit, yes, and I believe it is for everyone because when you're a child, you obviously want a friend, and not only when you're a child, but as you're growing up, you want people to actually notice you, like who you are, know you better, go with people and stuff. But I myself learned it the hard way that you don't really have to change yourself, and that's obviously what I want to teach my kids.
Another question for Mr. John. Why did you choose in particularly a skunk? Why didn't you choose any other animal? What is the reason for you for choosing a skunk?
Um, a skunk in particular is an animal which has a very bad scent, and many animals don't like coming near skunks. Even we don't like coming near skunks, obviously. So, just like that, I wanted to show that no matter how you are, even if you're a skunk or a fish or whatever you are unique, you are special in your own way. You don't need to change yourself or anything about yourself for anyone or anything in this world.
But what about the generation gap that you were talking about? Now, who do you think should be more sympathetic, the older ones or the younger ones? Whose role is it to have that, to bridge the gap between the old and the new?
So the older ones, because they are obviously more experienced, they know more about life than the younger ones. Like in my story, like I've said, the mother teaches the little skunk that you should not change yourself. So to bridge this gap, I would the older ones, they should talk, they should free up more with their younger ones. So that way they can build a bond of friendship that no, I trust you, and you can trust me also. So like that, that's one way to bridge up the gap.
Anything else that you felt very empathetic about in the story as you read it to perform your roles, or did you feel that the other role would have been better for me? Why this role? What did you think? Any of you?
Skunk role was actually was fine for me because even in real life I faced like many bullying or teasing from a short height from my fellow mates and from many people. So I thought if I play the role of skunk, the people who tease me can know the reason or like how we feel when we are teased. So I felt if I play the role of skunk, it will be good for me.
Yes, very true. You are what you are, and people should like you for who you are and not what you look like or what you represent, isn't it? And that's a very good role that you've played, and it has helped you yourself, isn't it? That's very nice to know. Yes, Jack also wants to say something.
I believe that all the characters in the story are important. All of them play their own role, and without one, the other wouldn't be of much value. So I think each one of us has done a good job.
Thank you so much. You've been a very good audience also. We clap for the audience. Thank you so much.